Late as always. Nothing like being consistent, is there? Sorry, chaps. I was just sorting out my terminals box. Oh, man. I had a lot to do this morning, and I even got up at 6 o'clock to make sure I got it all done. Trying not to be late. Failed. Sorry. Right, let's just get logged in here. Okay. I have no idea how many people's watching yet. We'll have to wait and see. Bear with me. Jeez, so many notifications. Oh, there we are. Last minute thumbnail. Oh dear. Right, almost there. Rose Ironworks. Well, hey, first to comment. Evening, Andy. Chris here. Good evening, Chris. Great to have you on board. I did get myself a pie, as you saw from the thumbnail. There you go. Look, I drove on the way there this morning. I was thinking in England I would never do this, but it's about 30 kilometers to the nearest, well, just under 28 kilometers to the nearest BP petrol station to go and get myself a pie. And I needed a pie and I needed a coffee. It's not product placement. I'm not even going to show the name. I got myself a coffee and, of course, some fresh packet of cigarettes. And that was 28 Ks. So that's like nearly 60 kilometers round trip. That's about 40 miles. That's like driving from Scarborough to York to go and buy a pie and a coffee. Mad, isn't it? Absolutely mental. It's what happens when you live in the sticks, unfortunately. Alan Cook. Hey, Andy. Morning, Alan. Hope you're all good. George. Good morning, Andy. Morning, George. Mike Bazansky. Cheers from Virginia. Tool Girl sticker received. That's great news. Yep, they've gone all over the world, those stickers. It's pretty cool. So once you've got it put on your toolbox, Mike, or somewhere special, send me a photo, a selfie if you can, on an email, and it'll go out through the social media. And I might also stick them, I don't know, I might even start putting them in videos as like a little segue thing, or maybe in the intro, or the credits. I don't really know yet, but I'm sure we'll make use of them somewhere. Rose Ironworks, pie, yes, and it's getting cold, so sorry. I have already warmed it up once. Good pie. Alan Cook, my sticker is here. It is. You sent me an email, and thank you very much for that. And I think you even sent me a photo, didn't you? Have a look. I think Alan already sent me a photo. Ooh. It might take a while to find, Alan, just bear with me. Although I might have saved it. I think I probably would have saved it. Downloads. Yes, I think, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the photo of your sticker. Look at that. So thank you very much, Alan, for sending that through. Apologies, it took so long to get there. At the moment, postage, freight seems to be horrendously slow. Robert Johansson, hi from Sweden. Any relative of Scarlett by any chance? Be nice to meet her. Anyway, hello Robert, good to have you on board, sir. Rose Ironworks, bonkers. Yes, completely bonkers. That's about an hour's, well, it was about an hour's round trip, to be fair. About an hour and 10 minutes, including the wait for the coffee. Jim K. Andy, did you start at the same time today? Well, Jim, I was about 2 minutes late according to my clock. Much to my own annoyance, to be honest. I was busy sorting out my new terminals box, which I'll be showing you a bit later on. I think I did show you a little bit of it last Sunday, but everything was still bagged up, so I had to unbag everything because I'm going to be using it soon, to be fair. Alan Cook, yes, brilliant. I'm on the ball. Only just. So good. Okay, so where do we start? Been a very, very busy week. I've really got to think what I did actually this week. Where do I honestly? My mind has gone blank. It's been that bad. Bloody hell. Yes, right. Went up to Auckland on Monday. Stayed in Auckland Monday night and Tuesday night. So that's right. Monday afternoon, went to Ariwa, fixed a problem with an ROV at one of the surf clubs in the afternoon. So I drove up in the morning, took a lot of calls, and then had a few errands to run, and went to go and see an ROV at the Ariwa Surf Club, which had the engine management light on. Wasn't the fault code. Checked the fault codes. There weren't any fault codes. It turned out to be the ignition switch, which causes a backfeed if it gets corroded, and it puts the light on and tricks you into thinking there's a fault code. Anyway, fortunately I had a spare new ignition switch with me, so I swapped it out and all fixed. Tuesday was a very busy day at my desk, to be honest. And then Tuesday night I met up with Jared and Darren. We had a good chat at the pub, good catch up. It was nice. A few ciders flowed, which was great, and really sort of planned for the future of the relationship between Andy Mechanic and Forge for New Zealand. Pretty cool. Wednesday was a bit of a funny day. I ended up driving home, but I didn't get home until quite late. So I must have spent, again, I was at the office doing stuff. Planned to leave in the afternoon, didn't happen, didn't leave till the evening. That's right, because I had tea in Matamata. Very nice, at the Redoubt pub. If you're ever in Matamata, strongly recommend it. Very good. So yeah, and I did some more errands as well, and a dealer visit, which I was late to. Honestly, that's right, yes. So admin in the morning, dealer visit in the afternoon, drive home. Thursday, Friday, meant to get out in the workshop, but I was absolutely flat out trying to catch up with admin work. Lots of phone calls, lots of emails. Busy. Yesterday, Saturday, well, in actual fact, Friday night, Benjamin came down in his ute, and yesterday he was busy building a wood shed. It is made of wood, but it's a shed for putting wood in, firewood basically, to keep dry. So he's busy building that at the moment in the garden. And so he's using a lot of reclaimed pallet wood, which is great. He's very good at recycling stuff, is Ben. Very impressed by that. And Eloise came down, youngest daughter, and she went off for the day with Mrs. Mechanic, and I think they're planning to do a walk somewhere. So they went to go and find the start of this walk so they knew where they were going. So they were doing that. And what was I doing yesterday? Well, I was sort of tidying up. Didn't do any videos, unfortunately, because Ben was making loads of noise with the weed whacker, the strimmer, in the morning, clearing all the greenery away for this shed. No, so I spent most of the day working on an ROV, and then last job in the afternoon is I undersealed it. So that's all done now. So I got the nasty job out of the way. It was only a touch-up. It wasn't a full underseal, so it wasn't quite as bad as normal. Anyway, where are we? Alan Cook, yes. Rose Ironworks. Calendar's changed. It sure has. Meet Miss November from Forge. It did require some red tape, gentlemen. I am sorry. You can't see it because she's sat a little bit lower on that image. It's hiding behind, or there. They're both hiding behind the lathe. I wonder what December has to hold. I don't know. Alan Cook, you will get a letter soon. Excellent. Thank you, Alan. Killswitch BB. Hi all. Good morning, Killswitch. Good to have you on board. Thomas Butcher. That's a new name, I think. Hi, Andy. I love all your videos. They are really good. Well, good morning, Thomas. It's Sunday morning here, and the time is, well, actually in Forchland, that clock's a bit fast. It's my fault. I changed it. I haven't changed it back yet. In Forchland, it's about 10 to 9. It's actually about 25 to 9, or 20 to 9. I don't know. Something like that. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Hang on, I'm a bit lazy. It's 8:42 a.m. There you go. In New Zealand. So we're in the future, Thomas. Apologies for that. Don't ask me the lottery numbers because I don't know what they CJ Scrome, that's a new one. Hi, I'm thinking of buying a Mercedes W124. Do you know this model? What point should I check? I have no idea about that model. I am sorry. I tend to stick with motorcycles, ATVs, ROVs, and Suzuki Jeeps and Nissan Patrols is pretty much my forte area. I have worked on lots of other stuff as well, but I've never worked on one of those. I don't know. So I'm assuming it's a car. I don't know. Is it a truck? Is it a van? Don't know. Maybe somebody else can help you out on that. Simon. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. Good to have you on board. Hope you've recovered from all the ciders and there isn't too much of a headache, mate. Or should I say hangover? Jim K. I imagine the engine light key switch issue catches a lot of independent shops. I bet it does, Jim. It's a bit of an oddball, isn't it? People don't always go back to the dealer like they should. Yeah, and those, I mean, it's something which I came across 4 or 5 years ago, and it took me a while to work out what the problem was initially. But once you know, it becomes a really easy fix, doesn't it? Because you don't know what you don't know. So yeah, for independents and stuff, and even for some dealers that haven't come across it before, they can end up chasing their tail with it. All sorts of, just burning workshop time. All you have to do is give me a ring. Saves them a lot of time. Trailer Fitters Toolbox videos. Yo, bud. Saturday, 7:40 p.m. here in the UK. Nice. Your day is over. My day is just starting and I've got loads to do today. It's forecast really heavy rain, actually, and it was raining very hard when I first got out of the house to go and get me pie. But at the moment, it's not raining at all, which makes the audio fantastic. Very happy with that. But I'm probably going to be working inside all day in the workshop. And I've got a full set of calipers to overhaul. I've got a CVT drive to overhaul. And I've got a lot of steel to cut. And that's probably going to take me all day, to be honest. There's a lot of steel to cut. There's a lot of cuts to make. There is. Anyway, we'll crack on with that. And I don't know, maybe I'll just abort mission on some of that stuff and crack on with the CB750. But more about that shortly. Now, Simon, December baubles law. Maybe. Very good. Yeah, I like that. Alan Cook, how is Holly? Holly is just fine. She's doing really well at the moment. She's busy riding a motorcycle around, having lots of fun doing that. Thomas Butcher. I also love all the Tool Girls and how are doing. Okay, well, all the Tool Girls, there's lots of them now, and I'm not going to run through every one of them. Partly because I probably can't remember all the names now. It's been a while. But Holly is the current official Andy Mechanic Tool Girl, and it's great to have her on board. She used to be one of my students years and years ago, and she came to me and asked me, probably about two and a half years ago. I said, hey, Andy, can I be one of your Tool Girls? And of course, the answer was going to be yes. Holly is a great Tool Girl. She's worked on the tools as a mechanic, working on old American muscle cars once she finished her course at Unitech. So she's got some real hands-on experience, and she's now working in a parts department, a Ford parts department, basically, selling parts, looking them all up. She's very good at it. She's been, from what she tells me, her stats, her figures have been the best out of her team, I think, ever since she started there, which is just unbelievable. She's really, really good at what she does. Now then, Simon, I don't get hangovers. I wish I didn't get hangovers. Man, some days I feel really, really bad for a while. Connor, good morning, Connor. Greetings, Andy. I enjoy these live streams. I enjoy them too, to be honest. It's a way of me sort of waking up and getting ready for the day. It takes a bit of organising, and I had to empty the whole workshop again, as always, apart from Alan's bike, which is behind me. And I thought I was going to get soaking wet, but the rain stopped just in time for me to get the bikes out. Now then, oh my word, MG Apodaka, maybe. Hi Andy, it's Saturday noontime here in Surprise, Arizona. Wow, good man. So hello MG, good to have you on board. Daniel Black, have you filmed any road trips, bikes, 4x4 stuff? Yes, of course I have. There's lots of videos on the channel, and I mean the road trips. There's the Rescue Charlotte series where I had to go down to Queenstown via Greymouth, covered the whole of the South Island, two different route down to back up, all the way down from Taupo. So that was a long way. We did it in like 3 days, 2.5, 3 days. Was it like 4,000 Ks or something? It was just ridiculously long way. With a trailer, obviously, and we brought Team Henry back, who wasn't dead actually. He just didn't want to drive. It's only a little 660cc Suzuki Alto. She'd driven all the way down from Auckland to Queenstown in that little tiny car, and she just didn't fancy bringing it all the way back. And she had some furniture and other bits and pieces to bring back as well, so it made sense to go and pick her up. So we did a Rescue Charlotte. It's not finished, and there's a reason for that. But there's also a series of me taking the WR450F down to the South Island for a 5-day trail ride where we go and explore some of the old paper roads of the South Island. We do Molesworth, we do Rainbows, all that kind of stuff. Really cool videos, actually. I really enjoyed making those, and I've got the rest of them in the can. I haven't edited them up yet because at the moment they can't go on the channel, but who knows, one day if I get time, I'll get them edited up. They actually take a long time to edit. And there's also another series when we did Desert Storm, which is a off-road event down held at the base of Mount Ruapehu. And I think there's 3 or 4 videos on that, and that includes the drive there and the drive back, I think anyway, it covers most of it. A long time ago. So there you go, lots of different kind of road trip kind of videos to film, to watch. Sorry, Andy's knackered. Andrew Hodgkinson, yes, but it's freezing cold and raining here in the UK. It's always horrible weather before bonfire night. It is, and you're just hoping it's going to stop raining for bonfire night. Now, CJ Scrum, Mercedes W124 was a sedan car produced in the 80s and 90s. Wow. I rarely follow your lives because for me, it's already 10:45 p.m. Well, my apologies on the time there. I know whenever I do decide to do a live stream, and sometimes I do them on an evening here in New Zealand if I'm out on the road, if it's an interesting sort of place that I'm based in for the night, or I'm bored, there's nothing else going on, I'll do a live stream and say hello to you all and try and involve you in my trip. But normally it's always a Sunday morning, and I suppose I could move the time around, but I think it's good to try and keep the same time every time, and then more people get to know about it, we all get into a bit of a routine, so it seems to work better that way. Otherwise, I might just go, well, can't be bothered this week, which is terrible, isn't it, really? But there's always a stack of jobs waiting to be done, so there's always that not an incentive, but you feel compelled to get on with your work, don't you? Now then, sorry, so I couldn't help you on your car. Sorry. MG, morning Andy, morning MG. Rowan C, good day, Mr. Andy. Well, good day, Rowan. Good to have you on board. John Dwyer. Hi Andy, my visit to Guy Martin's has been called off. Oh, I was telling Ben all about this. He was very impressed. Due to England's lockdown. Oh, yes, that's right. So it won't happen until December, possibly. Sorry, mate, I'll get him here sometime. I'm sure you will. Don't you worry about it. It's not a problem at all, John. Thanks for trying. And, of course, lockdown's not your fault, is it? Come on. Rowan, lots of love from South Africa. Thanks for all the super amazing videos to watch and learn. No problem, Rowan. Really, I enjoy making them. It's just finding the time at the moment to put them together is the hardest. And talking of videos, I spent ages, and I actually redid the video on the Sunday, the most recent one that went out, which is the volt drop testing. I filmed it on the Saturday, watched some of the rushes, wasn't very happy. So I decided to redo the video. I think all bar the intro, I redid the video on the Sunday. edited it up, fired it out on this Friday. It went live. You know, it had what, 600 views? Seriously? Is the world not interested in knowing how to do volt drop testing anymore? Is that the way we've gone? I mean, from my personal experience, there's a lot of mechanics out there that don't even know how to do volt drop testing. We're up to 720 views as I read it off here. I mean, sure, watch time isn't too bad, so those that do watch it are obviously interested, but there's not very many people out there interested in that kind of stuff, which I found quite disappointing, to be honest. I put a lot of effort into that video. But anyway, such is life. It might pick up later on. But it's all part of the series, isn't it? All part of that restoration project, so it's got to be done. And obviously I can get it a lot quicker if I don't film it, but anyway. Daniel Black, sounds like you have a lot in the can, but no time to edit. Let me know if I can help. It's what I do. Well, that's good to know, Daniel. What I would like, and I have asked, there was a filming company that we used for work a few months ago. Don't want to give any names away. And I think they call it a wipe. And what it is, I'll try and describe it for you. But it's not that I want it to be the same as this old wipe. It's just, I'm trying to explain what it is. If you ever remember watching the old Batman TV series with somebody Adams or Adams somebody or other, the original Batman, I believe, every now and again they'd go from beating the bad guys up to then driving the car, and they'd have this and it'd have maybe a 2-second thing where the Batman logo would do something on the screen. And you get the same thing with Dirt Every Day on the Motor Trend channel, you know, where they have a logo come on the screen, and that one drags across the screen and it leaves some marks in some mud. They call it a wipe in the industry, and I really need a good quality wipe for Andy Mechanic, because that way it's you know, when you're going from one side of the workshop, maybe when we go back to the workbench, I can use the wipe to sort of transition from working on the vehicle to doing a piece to camera at the bench, for example. You know, so if anybody can knock one of those together, if you want me to send you the logo and stuff, I'll check. In fact, it's already in a drive on the cloud. I can just send you a link. So send me an email. I'll fire you the link back. You've got access to all the logos and stuff, and you can have a play around. And obviously, I'll give you a mention in the credits for doing it. It'll be great. It's something that I really do need. The company that did me one, it was terrible. Honestly, it was so pixelated. And it was really very, very similar to the Batman one, but it was just my logo instead of the Batman logo. And that's not what I wanted. It even used the Batman tune. Don't want that. I mean, if you want to put some music on it, you can. I don't know if there is any. I think maybe some sound effects, yes, but maybe not music. If you were going to use some music, then maybe you could steal a few notes from the intro music. I don't know. Different ideas. I'm open to options. Adam West. That was it. I remember you see Adam. So Daniel, yes, if you're keen, then let's talk. Click me an email, andymechanic@live.co.uk. It's in the description. My email's in the description of all the videos anyway. Mike Pazanski, that Desert Storm ride was quite muddy. It was. Not fun for me. Was the suspension stock on your WR? It was, and Mrs. Mechanic took her quad bike, and that was the weekend that I pulled a muscle. I think I tore a tendon or something, or the muscle got torn off the bone. One of the muscles in my forearm on my right hand, because I was pulling a quad bike out, and there was just this terrible sort of snapping sensation inside my arm, and it all went, the whole forearm bruised up. It was like purple and green, and it was nasty, really nasty. I eventually went to the doctors about 2 weeks later, and he said, well, he explained to me what most likely happened, and there was nothing they could do about it. And ever since then, I've definitely lost some strength in that arm. Can't lift anywhere near as much weight as I used to be able to do. But hey, you work around it, don't you? You adapt as a human. Now then, John Bowie. Hopefully I pronounced that right, John. Sorry, John Bowie. Morning, Andy from California. Wondered, do you have full-size American trucks in New Zealand. We're getting there. I mean, obviously we do have the old imported American trucks full-size, I believe. I mean, there's plenty of those around. But as regards new vehicles, yeah, I think we do. There's some bloody enormous, like Dodge Ram, you know, what they call dualies, where they've got the two rear tires at the back as well. I'm not that familiar with the different models and stuff, but because again, I've never really worked on one. But yeah, there's lots of them around, and I think over here they allow them to tow 4.5 tons towing capacity. I think it is. So 4,500 kilograms. So it's a metric ton, is what the towing capacity is on those machines. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be even bigger ones, and they might have a high towing capacity. But the adverts that I've seen on TV is 4,500 kilograms. So yeah, we definitely have them here, without a doubt. Hamid, hey Andy, how are you doing? I'm good, Hamid, thank you. Mike Bazanski, WR, correct. Niza Ahmed, honestly, pronunciations. It's 3:50 a.m. in Malaysia now. I should be in bed sleeping. Yes, you should. Always morning, Andy. That's terrible. I'm keeping you up at that time. It's the middle of the night. That's still the day before to me. CJ Scrum, do you work on 50cc or 125cc mopeds? Now and again, not very often, to be honest. My Achilles heel is one of the Suzuki, what is it, SJ125, I think it is. One of the Suzuki mopeds. I hate it. I absolutely detest working on one of those. I don't work on them anymore, obviously. But when I did work on one, the amount of plastics to take off is ridiculous. And the quality of the bike isn't particularly good. I think I replaced a stator on one. It had loads of electrical problems, and we had to replace the stator, and there was faults in the wiring, and somebody been playing around with the wiring. Oh, never again. Kill Switch. I enjoyed it. What did you enjoy? Did you enjoy the Desert Storm? I enjoyed it a lot. It was good fun, apart from hurting my arm. I did it hurt my arm on the Saturday, so I had to ride all day Sunday with, obviously, pain. Couldn't really, in fact, I couldn't use the front brake. I remember now, I couldn't use the front brake. I could use the weight of my arm to roll on the throttle, but I couldn't use the front brake. So I was riding on the rear brake only, and I was really steering on my left arm. So my right arm was just hanging on the bars and just able to roll the throttle. But it was good fun, but man, I was in agony all day. I didn't want to not ride. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Trail Fitters Toolbox videos, V1 to V2 testing for drop voltage testing. We get taught every time we do trade training, as you should. It should be it's a simple test, and but unfortunately, not. You know, there's a big, here in New Zealand at least, there is a big skill deficit with the new mechanics that are coming through. I mean, it's something that we taught very early on at Unitech in the course when we were doing electrics. But people just, some mechanics just don't do it anymore. Just stick with the basic checks. Often you'll find the fault doing that. V1 to V4, okay. Brian Pinn, really enjoyed the voltage drop video. Good, I'm pleased you did, Brian. Options on the Triumph Sprint ST955. Well, never ridden one. Sorry, Brian. If you want to send it over here, I'll give it a good road test for you and let you know. The only thing I will say about Triumphs, and it's great to see the name still going. It really is. I even have a leather jacket from Triumph. It's a cool jacket. Bought it years ago. Here in New Zealand, at least, those bikes, the Triumphs, tend to be, for what you get, they tend to be a little bit, they're quite expensive for what they are. And you certainly get the impression that you're paying a little bit for the name on the new bikes. But they have a strong following over here, and they are not bad bikes at all, to be honest. They go really well. I think they look very cool, quite distinctive, you know, the street triples and stuff. So, and I don't hear of too many problems. Not really. I mean, there's not a massive amount over here. There's a few of them around. But yeah, I like Triumphs. Now, I had serviced a Cruiser a few years ago when we lived at Greenhithe. A really nice blue one it was. I forget the model. I forget everything these days. But it was nice. It was an American spec one. And it rode really well, sounded nice, easy to service. Yeah, good bike, actually. I like that one. I liked it a lot. And Mrs. Mechanic liked it. She said, oh, you should buy one of these. Maybe I should have done. So, Brian, I don't know. You'll have to... Maybe Simon might be able to help with that. Let me, if you do decide to get it, let me know. Let me know what it's like. Mike, Adam West, you are correct. Yes, I remember the Adam bit. I can't remember the surname. Simon, the vault drop video is a good one. Maybe it's the length, as you need to put time aside to watch it. I know. Constantly, I reprimand myself for doing long videos. And yes, I could have, maybe filmed it for the third time and condensed it right down. I do tend to waffle a lot, Simon, I know that. I just find it very difficult to put together a 15-20 minute video covering something like that when it's an actual... Sure, I could do a theory presentation with just an example very quickly on the bench. But when it's a real life bike where you're taking bits and pieces off and stuff, and I suppose I could have cut out taking the headlight off and just gone straight into the testing part, but I was trying to give the video a bit more of a diversity than just on the multimeter, John, I thought it was very interesting, vault drop video. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Connor K, Batman, Adam West, Biff, Biff, Boom, Pow. That's right. As a kid, I used to love that program. It was cool. Daniel Black, it's called an Alpha Channel Wipe. Wow, you see? Professional. Alpha Channel Wipe. Well, that's what we need, an Alpha Channel Wipe for Andy Mechanic. Oh, hang on, Daniel, before that disappears, because sometimes I can't get these back. Look at that. So Daniel at debtv.uk. Wow. All right, Daniel, I'll flick you an email. I'm going to eat my pie because it's getting cold. I think, Rowan, I think the people take their cars to the mechanic and not fix them themselves. Well, yeah, normal run-of-the-mill Mr. and Mrs. Smith with 2.4 children, whatever it is. Yeah, they use a garage and the mechanic fixes the car. I agree. But what's happening these days, more and more it seems, is when there's a wiring issue, sometimes the mechanic, they might have a little look around, check a few connectors and stuff, but they won't really get too involved with doing electrical tests. The dealership, more often than not, will just call in a Sparky, an auto electrician, a specialist in finding electrical faults. He will then inspect the car, diagnose the fault, and then report back to the service manager, who will then action the repair as required. That seems to be the norm, and I can see the advantage of that, because for the dealership is to train up your techs in-house, it's quite costly. It takes a lot of time. And also, whilst the auto electrician is diagnosing the fault on the car, the original mechanic is now doing a service or is doing something else, which is productive. So it's almost like the dealership's got another mechanic for a few hours or an hour, whatever, that's highly efficient, in theory, and can diagnose the fault quickly. So that they can move on, rather than having a mechanic bumbling around the car for probably a few more hours before they potentially come up with finding the fault. So I can see why dealerships do that. It's something which, if I was service manager in a dealership and we didn't already have a technician that was highly skilled in auto electronic diagnostics, then, sure, code reading and stuff's different. We're talking about broken wires, corroded wires, that kind of stuff. The kind of thing that Ivan does a lot on his channel. Then you just bring in the auto electrician and you just charge out more. You're making a profit on his hours that he charges you. So why not? So there are definitely advantages to it as well. But unfortunately, what happens then is your workshop becomes dependent over time on that happening, because you're not renewing your skills. or you know, any new techs that come along, you're not training them up to do that kind of work. Right. Daniel Black, send me an email. I will, Daniel. I'll do that after the email. Oh, hang on. We've got a knock on the door. Oh, lovely. Thanks, honey. Oh, I've got a fresh coffee. Yes, I know. I did. I actually bought two. I did. Not a sponsor. I just bought two. Mrs. Mechanics just warmed up in the microwave for us. So, Mike, SMA has the brake cleaner music. You need one for the magic hammer. We do. That will be cool. I need to come up with some kind of... I just didn't want to copy Eric too much, to be honest, because Eric, he's done a fantastic job with his channel. And I know, you know, copying is probably the best form of a compliment, but we all try and keep our own points of difference. And I respect Eric very much. I think he's got a fantastic YouTube channel. He's come a long way, and he's a very knowledgeable technician with a far, far broader and deeper knowledge base than I could ever hope to have. Although, to be fair, I have Tool Girls and Eric doesn't, so there's a bit... there are advantages to either channel, I suppose, aren't there? But no, I don't know. Yes, I can see where you're coming from. Yes, it'd be fun. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. Right, Connor, are those big US trucks in New Zealand right-hand drive? Yes, I believe they are. I believe they are. I mean, there's no mention on the adverts that they're left-hand drive. They're just selling them like a normal vehicle, so pretty sure they are. I'll have to have a look next time if there's one to pause about a petrol station when I'm filling up. I'll go and have a little nosy and find out. Hamid, remember when I asked you about the Suzuki GSR 2016 that I had an issue with the ABS? I think the computer's check gave me issues with the pump, and guess what? It costs $1,500 here in Jordan. Holy crap, that's a lot of money. Rowan, that's why people don't test volt drops. I think you're right, but they should. You know, and if you're at home doing a project, say if you're, you know, doing the wiring on an old car or something, those kind of tech tests are critical, especially on trailers as well, because you get a lot of corroded wires on trailers and stuff. Grady, trying to teach myself the basics. Any recommendations on where to start? What aspects? Are we still talking electrics? Are we talking on the tools, you know, as regards spannering? I mean, obviously, oh, what's going on there? You know, I suppose the easiest way to learn is take a car apart or a motorcycle apart completely and see how it's put together. You'll soon learn the basics at that point. That's what I used to do. Kill switch. I really miss working on points. So easy to work on. Well, they are. There's something that you can fix at the side of the road. And that's one of the issues on modern vehicles, isn't it? You know, they've become, I wouldn't say so complicated. I mean, you know, CDI ignition is pretty simple, but either it works or it doesn't work. Yes, it's a lot more reliable, but if it doesn't work, you can't fix it at the side of the road. Not really. Set a points, you can clean them up, set the gap, and away you go again. You've got to change them out, easy. You know, the everyday person with a little bit of thought and care and, you know, some basic knowledge can get by. I mean, Ben had his ute down here yesterday, and I told him over the phone how to fit a new set of points to his ute. And he says, well, what's the points gap? What do I set the gap at? And I said, well, I don't know, because we've never been able to find a spec for that vehicle. And it's a 1993 Ford Courier 2.2 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, and it has got points. Yes, 1993 vehicle with points. Everybody says it shouldn't have points. It has points. I know it's got points because we replaced them a few times. I know what points look like. Anyway, so told him over the phone how to do it. And as regards the points gap, he had no feeler gauges. I just said use your thumbnail. So he did that, and it started fine. And when he came down yesterday, Friday night, on Saturday, I fitted a new clutch master cylinder to it because it was leaking, and I set the points gap, and I set some timing for him. And I also put a vacuum hose back on. The vacuum advanced diaphragm on the distributor, he disconnected because he found a hole in it, and he ain't got a spare bit of pipe. So I plumbed that back up with some new pipe, and all good. Happy days. But he pretty much got it about right. I think it was running about 10 degrees before TDC static at idle, and the spec was 6 degrees plus or minus 1. So there you go. And we set the points gap at half a mil basically, which is, I don't know, seems to be okay. UK Weekend Workshop. The voltage drop video will probably be one that people refer back to when they have to do the tests, so we'll build views on the time frame. I think so. I mean, look at that trailer axle video that I did. When that first went out, didn't really get very many views at all, and it's done really, really well these past few months, to be honest. Let's have a little look. Ooh. Right, here we go. So in its lifetime now, it's had 273,000 views. It's had 2.8 million minutes watched, which is just like, holy crap. It's a long video though, but the average view duration is only 10 minutes, 20 seconds, which is not a lot. So, I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's done really well. It sort of came to life a few months after it went up on the channel. And it spurred a lot of conversation, especially about the hubs, actually. When I was fitting the seals onto the, basically, well, in the back of the hub, a lot of people haven't, obviously clear by the comments, haven't seen that style of seal, and I hadn't seen it until I came to New Zealand. The seal is pushed onto the stub axle, and the seal does not rotate, it's stationary. And in the back of the hub, once you've fitted the inner bearing, then you press in a stainless steel collar, and then the seal, obviously you grease it up, and the seal runs against that collar. That's the sealing surface. So the seal doesn't rotate. And the number of people that have said to me, Andy, you fitted the seal wrong. It goes in the back of the hub. It doesn't. It goes on the stub axle. I read the instructions. I've fitted those plenty of times before. I know how they go. But it's surprising how people are very quick to judge based on only their own experience. And you know, I try not to do that. We do things differently in different parts of the world, and we also call things different names in different parts of the world. And I found that out when I was teaching, to be honest, because we had students from all over the world there. But you just got to have an open mind and take on board and the fact that things can be different and done differently in different parts of the world. It's actually interesting, to be honest, rather than just saying you're doing it wrong. Just actually take note of what's going on. Now then, I'm probably miles behind on the comments because I waffle so much. Fireblade 2102. Morning, Andy. Toolbox sticker came this week. Oh my word! That's 3 stickers that have arrived in 1 week. That is fantastic. No problem at all, matey. Pleased it got there at some point. Postage around the world is woefully slow at the moment. And I've had quite a bit of stuff go missing, so at least it turned up. Any pie today? Yes. I'm about halfway through my pie. It's getting quite cold. Cowboy USA, knock knock. Here we go. Simon Raw. Never really seen any broken down new Triumphs. They seem to be good. I think they're a lot better than they used to be, and tend to be well looked after. and it will have a 16-pin OBD port. Nice. Yeah, we've over here now, the new bikes have to have an OBD2 port. I'm not sure if it's 16-pin though, to be honest. They're a motorcycle one. They're red, and they're a lot smaller. They are. I have got one, but I can't show you it because it doesn't belong to me. But there's no way there's 16 pins in it. So maybe one day we can discuss that. Or if a different brand bike comes in the workshop, then again we'll cover it there. Daniel Black. My first car was an Escort 1600 Sport. Nice machine. And I rebuilt the engine at the age of 18. Perfect time to learn how to rebuild engines. That was 32 years ago. Oh my word. So you're a little bit older than I am, but only just. I still enjoy fixing cars and bikes. Wish I had more space here in the UK. Space is the worst enemy, isn't it? Just trying to have enough room to do everything. I'm currently running completely at capacity. All my sheds are full to the brim. Can't get anything out. Don't have any access to anything really. It's just all blocked in by other crap. I really need a big shed that I can pull it all out, sort through it all, and actually categorize it all. And it's not going to happen, is it? It's not. Anyway, CJ Scrum recently purchased a KS Tools air impact wrench. Just wondered, which impact gun do you have? Well, as regards an air impact wrench, I've had a few actually over the years, but currently using Tang Tools. I've got the 3/8, which Brandon gave to Tool Girl Sam, actually. Still here, obviously. And then he gave me the 1/2 inch. But really, we haven't used those for over a year, probably. And now we're on electric, we're on rechargeable, and we use Makita. And again, we've got 3/8 and 1/2 inch. And to be honest, the 3/8 one does 98% of everything I need. Really, it's really, really good. Very happy with it. And it's super light, super small. You can get in places, and it's not over noisy, and there's no hissing noises when you're filming. It just sort of works. So I've not really had much need to go back to the Air Tools, although I like Air Tools very much. I like the noise. Reminisce with the old Zum Zum kind of stuff. But the added bonus with the electric, the rechargeable tools, is I can take them onto site without having to take an air compressor. And that's a major bonus. It certainly speeds up field repairs, that's for sure. Oh, my wife needs to be a talking pie face. Come on, John. It doesn't need to be. I only eat a pie to camera on the live streams. I don't eat them on all the videos. Good one there. Brian Ping. Simon Roll, mine has a misfire at the moment. Oh my word. Plugged it into tune ECU and no faults. Thinking maybe valve issue. As before the miss, it popped off one of the vacuum pipes to the idle valve. So it popped back through one of the intake valves by the looks of it. So maybe you've got a burnt valve or something, or have you checked valve clearances? Check valve clearances. Grady Moxley, really trying to get into the electrical side, but I'm nervous. I'm going to end up damaging the car. Start with the basics. Just do basic electrical. Don't get too, you can't just jump straight into the electronic side of, EFI and all the sensors and stuff. You want to be learning and be confident with basic electrical first. And then you need to understand about the ECUs. And, usually an ECU provides, on an actuator, it provides the grounds. So when you start poking around an ECU, you've got to be super careful that you don't put any current into the ECU that doesn't want to be there, because you will very quickly damage it. Sure, they do have some safety features in them, and they will actually cope with quite a bit of abuse, but if you do destroy it, they get real expensive. So you can end up making a lot more faults than what you start off with. But start with the basics. That's the important thing, you know. Simon. Brian Pin, look in the live data. Fuel trends may show if it's rich or lean misfire. So, Brian Pin. Will do. Bikes too new for my liking. Prefer carbs. Carbs are great, and you can fix them at home quite easily. And you can see what's going on with a carb. Normally you can look at it and go, yeah, there's some shit in the idle jet. There's the problem. But, you know, EFI is super reliable. And you do have a computer that's bolted to it that records any kind of faults, or most of the faults that it can pick up on. So it gives you direction as well. But you need extra stuff, specialist stuff, to access that information, and that's the biggest problem. Rowan, Mr. Andy, are we going to see a live Andy and Tool Girl in the future? Here we are, definitely. When Holly comes down again in a few weeks' time, she's going to be joining me on the morning for the live stream. We did try to do it last time she came down to do the filming, but we had a time change here in New Zealand, which caught her out. It caught me out as well, to be honest. And it was also raining very, very hard, so she couldn't actually get from the hotel, which is only about 100 meters away, to the workshop without getting drenched. So she had to hold off a little bit. And unfortunately, I'd finished the live stream by the time she got here. But that's just sod's law, isn't it? These things happen. But we'll do our very best to get her on board and get her in the workshop, you know, well before the live stream finishes. Hopefully, you know, maybe half an hour in. She won't be here right at the start, that's for sure. There is no way you're going to get Tool Girl Holly out about that time in the morning. Oh, we can show that, I think. Grace Gokong, I think I pronounce. I'm new subscribed, sir. Hope you can give back to help my new IT. Well, if you can try and give me a bit more information about what you'd like me to help you with there, Grace, I'll do my best. Rowan, wish I had an impact wrench. I would love to have one. They're pretty cool. They're very useful, especially if you're working on stuff all day long. But even then, yeah, I don't use it for everything. Sometimes I just use a normal ratchet. Just depends what I'm doing. And also, you know, how many bolts I've got to undo. If it's one or two, just use a ratchet. Weekend Workshop. I've seen loads of that type of trailer hub seal, and it did throw me a bit the first time, but we used a lot on horse box axles. They're actually really popular here in New Zealand. I mean, I suppose most of the trailers I've worked on have been boat trailers is the most popular. I've done a fair few horse boxes as well, and same, but mainly boat trailers. And normally, not just servicing, but a lot of welding on them as well, because they go rusty pretty quick. Simon, we have a 3-pin and a 4-pin in the UK. One of the one you can't show. Well, the 4-pin is obviously going to be, you know, you can system, isn't it? Daniel Bedell, hello Andy. Hello Daniel. Pulling out this window. Oh, please look at your Facebook message to see the picture. Right. Oh, wow. Nope, it's not going to rotate. There you go. So that's what Daniel's doing today. He's going to pull that window out. That's a hell of a reflection on that window, isn't it? Wow. It's almost like a picture. Very cool. It is a reflection, though, because you can see Daniel taking the picture. Look at that. Not a cloud in the sky. Should be a nice day for doing that one. Good job, Daniel. Don't drop it. Don't want broken glass everywhere. Also, you might be able to help. At the moment, I have a Gmail email address, which is, I can tell you, it's adventure247nz@gmail.com. There you go, another different email address. And now they've done something on Gmail, and now my phone can't connect to the server and download the any new emails. And it stopped about 2 days ago. In fact, it stopped on the 5th. Was the last email that came through. At 9:31 p.m. on the 5th of November. Good post though. It was a Pinterest post. Motorbikes. Anyway, so if you know anything about that and what I need to do to my phone to fix that, it'd be pretty cool. Because it's bloody annoying, because every time it tries to connect, it comes up with a... Ooh, Daniel. Daniel's on the phone. Let's talk to Daniel for a second. Oh, he dropped out. We'll call him back. What happened there? Right. Sorry, Daniel.
Hello, Mr. Andy.
Now then, Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. We've finally got
right.
to do a voice call. Pretty cool.
Right. Okay.
So
as far as your Gmail is concerned,
on
your phone,
yeah,
you should be able to go into your settings.
Yeah.
Like and go down to where you see it says accounts.
Yes.
And then you should see that Gmail account.
Right.
Select that Gmail account, and it's going to have you log into that Gmail account.
Yep.
Once you log into that Gmail account, you can then actually go ahead and sync or synchronize your phone with that Gmail account.
Okay. I mean,
I'm sorry, but it's too much to go through.
Yeah.
Over a text message or email.
No, that's fine. It's fine. I mean, the phone was downloading the emails fine until Friday night, and I did get an email from.
That's because it's not synced up.
Yeah, they've changed security. I'm told there's like another level of security now that's been put in there. So I'll give that a go and see what happens.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. That's
okay.
probably no worries, Daniel.
Sorry for interrupting your live stream.
Sorry, say again.
I said I apologize for interrupting your live stream.
Not at all, mate. It's good to talk to you. Good luck with the window.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Quality was pretty good, actually. Right. There you go. All sorts of stuff going on today. So, yeah, that was the problem. They put some new security on the old Gmail account, and now my phone doesn't talk to the server anymore. Honestly, I need a child that's like a 9-year-old child that's really good at internet stuff. Right, let's crack on because we're falling behind, I think. How long have we got? 75 viewers. What the hell? That's cool. Well, good morning all. We only have 28 likes there, so I'm obviously not doing a very good job this morning. Now, you might have noticed the beard has been trimmed. Had a little bit of a haircut. Well, I say a haircut, I said tidy up round the back. I went to go and see Barber John. Now, when I wandered into the barbers, bespoke barbers, by the way, in Thames, very nice chap. He's been there about a year now, I think, maybe just under a year. He's doing a great job. He used to work in Auckland, and he was my regular barber in Auckland City. And right next door was my bar, not my bar, but it was called my bar. It was run by Asa. So it was a great combination. I could have a Chinese meal next door, get my hair cut, go for a pint. All three shops were next to each other, which was like the perfect combination. Anyway, went to go and see Barber John, walked in, and he started to laugh. He did. Started to laugh quite a bit, actually, took the piss. And I said, look, this is the way it's going to be. All right, so I don't want you to cut the length. I just want you to tidy up. So he did. And then he then went on to trim my beard and tidy all that up. And I think he did a fantastic job. So thank you very much, Barber John. And I'll be back in a few weeks. Definitely. Not a sponsor, by the way, just a good friend. So, right. Kill switch. Renault 5 slow running jet on carb was an easy diagnose and fix. Too many times have I done that job. Wow. So it just got blocked, had it? Was that the problem with it? Sergeant Joe Smith. What's the history of Teng tools? Where they made from, or where they from or made? People in the USA started to talk about them. Right. Well, my first set of Teng tools was purchased in the UK, and I'm not that hot on the history of Teng tools, although when I bought my socket set, I think they'd only been out on the market about a year or 2 years. They were pretty new to the market, and I'd never seen them before, but they were well priced. They looked pretty good tools, and I thought, well, as a student, I can't afford Snap-ons, so I'll have a punt and see if they're any good. And I've still got some of the parts of that socket set kicking around the workshop somewhere. Now, as regards where they're made, I think they're made in Taiwan now. I think they are, but they used to be made in the UK, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to Google it, and Google will have all the specs for you. But it's like I said, they are good tools. Can't knock them at all, really. They do everything I ask them of. Now, in the USA at the moment, Brandon was saying there's obviously an agreement going on. So maybe some parts are made in the States. I don't know. But there's an agreement going on where for the first few years of them being sold in the States, they can only be sold online. So you can buy them online, no problems at all. But that is due to expire, is the deadline on that. And then they'll be available in store as well very shortly, if not already, to be fair. And I mean, the US is a massive market, so it's going to be a phenomenal step up for Teng. It sure is. UK Weekend Workshop. Biggest issue with diagnostic work, especially electrical, is having references, specs, stroke data. Without that, it doesn't matter how good a mechanic or technician is, they're working blind. I agree completely. You need wiring diagrams. Without a wiring diagram, especially on modern day cars that are so frigging complicated, you really just, unless it's something visual that you can find, or you're just checking lengths of wire in a loom, you really are sort of wasting your time, aren't you, to be honest. I always go straight to the wiring diagram, have a look and see what I'm dealing with, and then, put together a plan of attack from there, really. Simon Rolls, download the Gmail app. Okay, I'll try that. Thanks, Simon. Rowan, damn COVID-19 messed up everything. As I am working for myself, and it's not looking good. I see a lot of shops closing and people losing their jobs. It's not nice. It's a global problem, and it's not just the actual virus. So it's the effects are massive. We're very fortunate here in New Zealand. Things are nowhere near as bad as they could be. And really, we just got to thank our lucky stars for that, really. Other areas of the world, especially the US, the UK, Europe, it's horrendous. It really is. It's going to have very, very, very long lasting effects on the economy. Demetrius, I have no idea what you're saying there, Demetrius. I am sorry. Simon, it's the old joke. Get next door's kids to set the clock on the VCR. It is, what do they say? I'm a dinosaur in a electronic age. Pretty much. I bumble through when it comes to computers. Sometimes I really surprise myself how I fix things, really. Matt Wicks, have you been to that Thai restaurant in Thames? I haven't. Where it's $10 for a lunch on the main street. Well, I haven't, but now that I know, I will definitely go there. I'll take John there for lunch. Once he's cut my hair. Again. Mike Basansky, manscaping. I think the terminology manscaping involves additional hair being cut as well, and that's not what happened. Just to clarify that right now. Any manscaping to be done is done in-house only. Right. Android Taha. Hi. Android Taha. That's a funny name, isn't it? Right. Kill Switch. Yes. blocked. Jet was blocked, so easy to pull the screw and blow through it. I used to clean carbs out when I was about 12 years old. You can see the problem, can't you? You know, you blow through it, you look up, put it up to the light, and if you can't see, obviously my eyesight's shit these days, but you know, ideally you should be able to see through it. If not, I used to get one of my little tricks was I get my wire brush and I'd take one wire, I'd just wiggle one wire off the wire brush, and these were straight wires, and I'd use that to clean the jet. And then, you know, I'd just chuck that bit away. Obviously, over time, my wire brushes lost a few of their wires, but really easy way of finding something that was strong enough to clear it through. And then obviously, I didn't even have an air compressor when I was a kid. I used to just blow through it in my mouth and check it again, and you could see through it and stick it back in, and off you go again. It was fixed. It was great. Simple. Yes, there we are. Look, Swedish design and owned and made in Taiwan is Teng Tools. Yeah, I think right at the start it wasn't made in Taiwan though. I think they moved, I could be wrong, but I think they moved the production to Taiwan to try and get costs down. But I could be wrong. Sergeant Joe Smith, my shop has 300 openings right now for current locations and new locations in ready to open as soon as I can find managers to pay 150. What? My shop has 300 openings right now for current locations. Do you mean that you're going to be the company that you work for, Joe, is opening 300 new branches? That sounds ridiculous. Jim, Teng is named after a Japanese warrior, as is the logo. See, you learn something. I didn't get told that. That is very cool. I do like the eyes. That they're very brilliant marketing, very distinctive. Connor, so many viewing, so little liking. Well, that's just the way it goes, Connor. Sometimes Andy doesn't do a great job. Thanks, Jim. Right, I think we've got to the end of the comments. So let's do something a bit more interesting. Before I have a cigarette, I'm going to hold back from the cigarettes. So, first of all, Alan's CB750K2. We've got a lot of wiring to do. It's going to involve taking the wiring harness off the bike, completely opening it up. There'll be a video on this, opening it up, removing the old wiring that's not doing too well, to be fair, and putting in some new wire. We're also changing the circuit slightly, where the feed to the primary circuit, the ignition coils, is no longer going through the ignition switch and the kill switch, because the current flow is a bit too high for that switch gear, and over time it causes the contacts to burn and points of high resistance to develop. So we're going to introduce a relay, and this is the relay that I chose. And to be perfectly honest, the place that I went to, which was TWL, where the hell? Oh, Wirry, Auckland. Not a very good selection of stuff, gentlemen. So I'm hoping that this one will do the trick. It should be all right. It's got a built-in fuse, which was made really appealing. It's nice and see-through, which is good as well. Good for the videos because we can see it working. And that's the part number there. Look, now it's a 25 amp. I was going to go for a 30 amp, but they didn't have one, so I went for a 25 amp, which is more than enough for this job anyway. So we've got the relay, and obviously it's a 4-pin relay, standard 4-pin relay. And I did check with the guy. He told me that this is fine to be energized all the time, you know, because I didn't want to get a relay that was going to burn out. So it should be just fine. So he says. Maybe we'll find out, won't we? Now, I also said, look, I need to buy some rolls of wire, you know, 15, 20 meter rolls will be fine. Or if I need 25s, that's not a problem. You know, I'm going to use it up. And but I said I need a number of different colors, because I wanted to match the colors that are on the bike. I wanted to try and keep the wiring as close to the wiring diagram colors as possible. So if you remember, down to the points was yellow and green. So we've got yellow and green. And we had I think was there a brown in there? No, there was a black. So we've got black on there, look. And there was a black with a white tracer. Haven't got that, so maybe I'll potentially use white, don't know. But they didn't have a selection of rolls of wire of different colors. So in the end, I decided, because I had to make a decision there and then, and not have all day to go and drive around Auckland looking for what I wanted, I decided to buy some 7-core cable. And I bought 10 meters of that, which is plenty. and then I can strip that and I can use the individual colors where required. So that was a really cheap way of getting all the different colored wires that I want. And I think that's quite a good tip for anybody that's not doing a lot of wiring but wants to use different colors to keep it all easy to reference further down the line. You just buy some 7-core trailer wire and just strip it open, and you've got a number of different colors. It's great. Now, on the load side of the circuit, this is the side of the circuit that's going to be going from top of the solar, basically battery positive, through a fuse to feed through the relay load side to the primary circuit. I went for this. Now, I wanted red, but they didn't have red. All he had was black, and this was all he had. I just bought what he had, to be honest. And this is what they call 6mm cable. It may not look particularly big on the camera, but it's 6mm. It's definitely a lot bigger in section than the original cable that's on the bike. Probably about 3 times the size of the cross section of copper in there. So that's about 6mm. So that will be absolutely fine. And we should get absolutely minimum volt drop using that. And that's going to be feeding through the coils, and then of the main feed to the coils, it'll split to feed each coil separately. And where it splits, it'll probably drop. Well, I might use that. I might drop it down. And when it goes down to the electronic ignition module that's on the end of the crank, I might actually double up the yellow. I might run 2 yellows in parallel and 2 greens in parallel, because this isn't particularly, it wasn't as thicker gauge as what I really wanted. It's probably about the same, I would say, as what's already on the bike. So I'll probably double up on that in the loom. And actually, yesterday I was talking to Ben about this because he was asking me what I was doing with this bike. And I was following that green and yellow wire back on the bike, and it actually goes up behind the oil tank. And I was sort of trying to thread it through and work out, you know, when I was going to pull the loom out. And I give it a tug, and there's another set of connectors back there, and they were pretty corroded, to be honest. So that was one set of connectors that we didn't test because I wasn't even aware that they were there. They might be on the wiring diagram, and maybe I just overlooked them. But yeah, it's in pretty poor state, is that wiring harness. So we've got lots of coloured wire, which makes it nice and easy for doing the circuit. We've got the heavy duty wire for doing the load side to feed the coils. We should see a massive improvement in volt drop and get the bulk of the battery voltage delivered directly to the primary winding. And we've got a pretty cool relay as well. That should work. Now, while I was there, holding off on the cigarette, you see I'm doing well, aren't I? While I was there, and this, I was thinking maybe I'll use these on Alan's bike, but I'm actually inclined not to, and it's for 2 reasons. I'm with that. I bought some of these DT connectors. Now these are very much what you would find, similar sort of styles you'd find on a modern vehicle or modern motorcycle. So I got a selection of these. I thought they'll come in really handy because, you know, they're quite compact, fully sealed. You know, what's that one? That's a six pin one there, look. That one's a 4-pin. I just got a selection just to get me started. I even got an 8-pin one there, look. So it might come in handy for something, maybe a go-kart project in the future, I don't know, we'll see. Because they're not cheap, to be honest, but we'll see how we go. 2-pole, I got 2 2-pole ones, I did. Now, when I got to the counter, I said to the chap, right, these look like they need a special kind of crimping tool, because I'm trying to get one of the little connectors to show you. There we are, look. So, oh God, they're really, really small, very hard to see. I'm not going to open the bag. Oh, hang on, I could open the bag. It's a zip one, isn't it? Jeez, come here, little one. All right, so I mean, Simon and other people will know what these are all about. So, tiny, tiny little connectors. And what you can't do is use a, you can't use a normal pair of crimping pliers for that kind of stuff. It's just not going to work. So I said to the guy, I said, look, can you price me up, since I'm buying these from you, can you price me up the proper tool, the proper crimp tool for these connectors? And he said, yeah, no problem. Give me a few minutes and I'll find it for you. So he got his big catalogue out, which I thought was pretty cool. and he found what I needed. And what I needed is that one there, look, in the middle, that thing. And it looks really, really cool. Looks very expensive. So I said to him, okay, just price it up and let me know. Because I'm not, in fact, there's a picture of the whole tool there, look. Oh, silly phone. There you go. All right, that's the whole tool. And he said, oh, mate, it's not going to be cheap. And I thought, well, you know, what's not cheap? Give me a price. $900 he wanted for it. 900. Not 100, not 500, 900. And he could see me sort of quake when he told me the price. And he said, oh crap. But he said, but don't worry, I can do you a discount. I thought, it needs to be a hell of a discount. He said, I'll do it to you, including tax, GST we call that over here. I'll do it for 800. How does that sound? And I'm like, it's not going to happen, mate. It just isn't going to happen. I'll have to come up with some other way. Maybe I'll just solder the wires into them or something, or find a crimper that I've already got that sort of works. So my question to you this morning is, if you know of the correct crimping tool for the DT style connectors that is not an extortionate amount of money, then please let me know, because obviously at some point in time I'm going to need one to make full use of those kind of connectors. But it's definitely something I want to go down that particular route, because they are very cool and they're sealed. That was obviously, you know, that was a real benefit, is you've got the proper, you know, rubber seals and stuff, which we don't find, for example, on Alan's CB750, on Alan's bike. You know, that's got the old school kind of connectors, and I've got them sat right here actually, which is sort of, you know, you've got your little brass connector there, look, that you crimp on, and then you've got this little shield that goes over. And then if you can imagine the male connector, and then you've got obviously this other half that goes inside, and that basically, and this is exactly the same as I've seen on Alan's bike, that's basically the kind of connector that you get. It's obviously got the connectors on the inside, and that's a separate insulation piece. And I think when they're new, they seem to work reasonably well, especially when they're a single connector like that. When you start to get the multi-connectors, and we saw that in the headlights on the black wire coming through from the ignition, that's right, it went to a four-way connector. Now, of course, you know, the four-way connector had some kind of rubberized cover on it, and then we also saw the bullet connectors going in with these little bits on, but there were gaps. There was no way it could fully seal against these, and inside there it was quite corroded to the point where it's going to have to be replaced. Now, I was having to think about Alan's bike, and what we're going to be doing, where that four-way connector is, when I pull the loom out, is I'm going to make a connection in the loom, which will be soldered, and it'll have heat shrink around it, which will then have four small branches, which will have individual connectors at the ends of them. And I think that's probably the best way to go about replacing that four-way connector, because I can't get that four-way one, and it's a bit open to the elements. But if I use the old school style but use single ones, then they'll be a lot better sealed. So there you go. Right, it is definitely time for a cigarette now. So we've covered those. I want to show you the connector box that I got, because now that I've taken it off, so we'll have a cigarette and we'll do that. Hang on a second. Right, we're going to turn around. 3, 2, 1. Oh, right. Don't lose that. Dum, 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 dum. So here you go. This is the connector box that I got to do Alan's bike. And it's got the original bullets, which are very cool. I actually prefer the bullet ones to the flats. We've got some little ring terminals as well. We've even got some connector box, cigarette smoke, geez, of different, that's a three-way connector. What's that one? Oh yeah, flats again, look. So that little three-way one, wherever it's gone, sorry, there's a six-way one, that uses these little pins here, look. So that's the male, And of course, that's the female one. So we've got, you know, they're quite tidy, but they're not sealed. Again, this is sort of old school stuff. You'd find this kind of thing on like a GN 200 or any sort of 80s bike, really, I suppose, when they moved away, I suppose, from this style and they started to use more of this kind of stuff. But it's not bad. And there's even a, what's that one? Oh, it's another 6-way, but that one takes your flats, your full-size flats. It depends on current flow as well, which one you use. So there you go. Quite a nice little box, actually. A nice metal box to keep all the bits and pieces in. But I thought at the same time, if we're going to do it properly, let's also, increase my stock of different kinds of connectors and bring things up to modern day as well, just in case I need to use one of these somewhere. But I need a crimp plier for those, and they won't do. Right, we're going back. There we go. Right, sorry chaps. Terrible camera work. There we go, much better. Okay, so we've covered crimpy stuff. Oh my word, that won't close. We've covered terminals and that kind of thing. We've covered the wire. We've covered the relay. We're doing pretty well, actually. Let's look at one more thing to look at, though. Hang on, we're going back. We're going back. We're going back. We're going to scroll back. Right, yes, Connor Case. So many viewing, so little liking. 78 viewers, which is still really good, and 36 likes, which is not quite as good, Andy. You need to do a better job. Okay, Sergeant Joe Smith. Thanks, Jim. Sergeant Joe Smith. Yeah, we're ready to open 20 new locations in 5 states. Wow, that is cool. 0 applications in the last, what? In the last 5 months. Americans just want to flip burgers for minimum wage. That's ridiculous. John, press the thumbs up, please. Thanks, John. Sergeant Joe Smith, 10 to 15 employees per location. Jeez. You'd have thought, with the mass sort of redundancies that have been going on around the world, and I mean the US is no exception, that people will be jumping at the chance to get a new job and get back on the ladder again. I just don't get that. I really don't. Jim, Tang does have history on web page somewhere. I haven't read it. I really should read it, shouldn't I, Brandon? Sorry, mate. Right. Joe, we had to stop advertising and turn away customers because we got too busy and too far behind. That's always a risk, isn't it? Taking too much on with too few staff. You can quickly damage your reputation doing that when you can't keep up. I was working 12-hour days and 7 days a week doing the work of 3 employees. All you'll do there is burn yourself out. You can do it short term, but it's not sustainable, is it? Not at all. Simon, if you need the right style bullets and blocks for the CB750, try Koji Cat. They're spot on. Ooh, hang on then. I'll check that out, but I think my cunning plan is going to work, and I think it'll look relatively original as well. And I mean, when I have the loom out, I may most likely replace a lot more of the connectors than just the ones on the primary circuit, that's for sure, while I'm in there. UK Weekend Workshop, one of the best automotive electrical product suppliers I've found, is an online shop, Vehicle Wiring Products. Simple name. It's all in the name, isn't it? Massive range, including tracer colors. I've been using them for quite a few years. That's good to know. I really need to, one thing I've not done yet in this shop is to organize properly my stock of wire. It's slowly getting merged into one box, which I think is up there somewhere. I came across it with Ben yesterday. But I've got reels of wire and stuff all over the place. And I need to, make a roll, put them on, hung up. I don't know where though. It needs to be somewhere that I'm not going to be grinding too much to keep it clean. Ideally, probably in a cupboard would be ideal, wouldn't it? Given all the crap. I mean, I was doing spraying the other week. I was spraying those brackets for the front number plates. And it's amazing, even with the little spray booth, it's amazing how the black paint has migrated to certain areas of the workshop. Not good. So thanks to UK Weekend Workshop. Really appreciate that. I need to take a picture of that as well there. Huh. I know I'm taking pictures of a computer screen. Who does that these days? But it's an easy way of doing it. Sergeant Joe Smith, we were so busy I got $20 an hour pay raise. Wow, this summer to $50 an hour to change oil on lawnmowers and sharpen blades and adjust shifters and brakes. Ben was telling me yesterday that the demand for bicycles globally has increased fourfold. 4 times the demand, which means that a lot of shops now have a lot of models on back order, and he says they're not going to get them until May or June next year. Partly because a lot of the factories that make bicycles are not running at all or not running at full capacity. So not only has demand gone up, but supply has dropped off. So there's a huge problem. John, eBay for the DT crimp tool. What? $40? £40, sorry, £40. Well, I'll be straight onto eBay and ordering that today. Absolutely. 900 the guy wanted. I mean, sure, it looked quite a precision tool, the one he was trying to sell me, and I'm sure it was the one that Hella would endorse. It was in their catalogue. But still, hell of a lot of money for bloody crimping pliers. Igors, look up the Haltech site for the crimping tool. Thank you very much. See, we're getting loads. It's all about collaboration, isn't it? Thank you. I really appreciate that. I will do that as well. I'll peruse a number of different sites and I'll make the decision. I might have to, if it's any more than that, I'll have to wait till payday though, which is on Friday. Yeah, I get some more money on Friday. I can afford to buy things again. Buy some more toys. Drew Dastardly. There are universal crimp tools that come with an assortment of dies on AliExpress and eBay for a good price. See, all this information. For automotive, do not solder multi-core wire to crimp terminals. It defeats the whole purpose. Thank you. Crimp is a better electrical connection than solder. Right. I have been told that before. I actually got told off for soldering stuff in the past. But sometimes, you know, if it's in the loom, you're doing a repair in the loom, then soldering really is something that I do. It is, because it's neat and tidy, it's out of the way. And Ivan does it, and Ivan gets told off for it as well, but we still do it, and it works. But I agree, in the connector blocks, there shouldn't be any solder in there. What was I thinking? UK Weekend Workshop. Vehicle wiring products sell wire by the meter for most of the range. Well, that's handy to know as well, because then you can just buy what you need. That is really good. Good to know. Right, I've managed to get to the bottom of the comments. I've caught up. And we've got 106 people watching. What the hell? That is fantastic. Right. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the CV750 project and where I'm going from here. And the last video covers my thoughts on changing the circuitry, the wiring for the primary circuit to try and minimize volt drop. And we've covered that a bit today as well. So we're now going to sidestep to Tool Girl Holly's DR200, where we are with that. Jeez, cigarettes, eh? Terrible. So, do you remember the right-hand side stand on the farm bike? Yes, a right-hand side stand is held on with 2 bolts. Now, just to give you a spec on the thread is, as Simon rightly puts, although you couldn't tell the size, it's an M12 bolt. There is one of the genuine Suzuki bolts, still with a little bit of factory thread lock on it. Look, pretty cool. And although one of these is bent, it's not this one. This is off another bike. But this is M12 by 1.25. So I went to, not a sponsor, but I do like to give them a shout out because they were very, very helpful, as they always are. I went to a company called Trade Tools in Auckland. They tend to do some pretty specialist stuff. And this isn't the chap that I spoke to because he didn't have a card, but that's the card and all the contact details there. If you're ever in Auckland or in New Zealand and need something like this, they're really good. And they did give me a little bit of a discount, but that was before I mentioned to them that I'll give them a shout out on the YouTube channel. So they're not really, you know, it wasn't because of the channel that they gave me the discount. And they sold me this tap. Now, what's quite interesting about this tap, and one of the reasons why I wanted to show you, is I want some feedback, if that's possible. That's the part number there, look. Comes in its own little box, and I only bought one because I only need one tap for this job. It's the piece that I machine up to go in the frame will be I'll drill all the way through, so it's an open hole, and this is the tap that he sold me. Now, if you look very, very carefully, can you see, obviously we've got the standard, it's a starter tap, I think he said it was. It's got the standard lead at the start, but can you see on the threads there, look, it actually also drops off as well at the top end, and I've never seen that before on a tap. And I questioned that with him, and he said, oh, it looks like it hasn't been machined properly. Let's go and get another one off the shelf and see if that's the same. And he did, and it was exactly the same. So my question is, what is the reason for that? Is it deliberate? And if so, have you seen it before? And if so, why is it there? Why is it not the full thread right to the end? Why does the thread diminish in diameter again towards the top side of the tap? Interesting, really interesting. I don't know why it is. So maybe, just maybe, somebody out there, maybe Simon or somebody, might know the reason for it, because none of my other taps are like it. I had a little look. And while I was there, I thought, well, I better get the right size drill bit as well. So he sold me an Evercut drill bit, and this one is, there you go, look, a 10.8, which he says is the right size for that tap. And the whole lot cost me, I even put the invoice in the bag because I'm so organised. There you go, the whole lot cost, so this is one tap and one drill bit, cost $67.94, which, a bit more of the kids' inheritance just gone there, isn't it? But, you know, you've got to have the right stuff to do the job properly, haven't you? So we've got what we need. All we need to do now is find a bit of steel bar, turn it down, drill the hole down the middle, tap it out, and I can obviously mount the tap in the chuck on the lathe to get it started bang on, and then I can actually do it in the lathe. But without turning the lathe on, I can just turn the chuck, and just wind it in. Be easy enough. And then I can cut out the bit of frame that I need. I'll probably use a hole saw for that. I'll grind off that lug, and then use a hole saw. I'll drill a pilot hole, then I'll use a hole saw to drill through the tube on the frame to get it right, just in the right place. Should be good. So there you go. That's what I've got in line for that frame. Once that's done, then I'm going to shot blast the whole frame, and then when I'm spraying the next batch of number plate brackets that I've got to make 100 of, once I've got the paint gun out, I will also spray the frame so it'll get sprayed gloss black. And it should look pretty cool, I think. Oh my word. Kill switch. Okay, what did I miss? I was busy eating roast beef and all the... You had to say that, right, didn't you? Roast beef and all the trimmings. Obviously, Yorkshire puddings, no doubt. Jim Haynes. I think DT terminals are made by AMP. I remember AMP Corporation, and are used in heavy trucks and heavy equipment. Cool. UK Weekend Workshop. Crimp or solder all depends on use, location, circuit specs, and application. Drew Dassedley. It is because you have to back the tap off. It allows easier egress of the swarf. Right. Well, none of my other taps have got that new feature. I say new because it's new to me. Simon, the tap may be like that to help clear the swarf. You see, he's a clever guy, Simon. He works stuff out. Kill switch, correct, Simon. Daz, 323323. Morning, Daz. You should do a live stream of how subscribers found your channel. I found yours from the Makita impact gun you reviewed. I ended up buying one because of your review. Wow. I must admit that video, there's two videos in that series, because the first episode was sort of inconclusive. I suppose I made a few mistakes on the testing, and I wasn't really set up for the testing properly, in all honesty. It actually produced a lot more torque than I thought it was going to do. And the bolt that I was using was no way near cope with the amount of torque that could be applied, so it started to stretch on the threads. So we had to do it all over again, but Tool Girl Sam gave me a hand on the second video, and I think it went pretty well. Although I do still get so many comments about asking why when I'm checking to see, or testing to see how much torque was applied by the impact wrench, why I continue to tighten the nut as opposed to undo the nut. And I've explained that in so many different comments. You know, it's to do with that breakaway torque required. It's supposed to be, so I've read up, there's supposed to be less breakaway torque need to be applied to tighten the bolt further than actually loosen it. It's to do with the way that the metal, you know, grabs onto the bolt, basically. Now then, so thank you for that, Daz. I appreciate it. It's good to know how subscribers came across the channel. Jim K. Speaking of connectors, I have saved many OEM harnesses that have been damaged for their connectors. Jim, so have I. I have lots, and I regularly get asked for connectors off those looms to get dealers out of trouble. And obviously, I try and help them out wherever I can. DT connectors are made by German. They're German, which I think Hella is German, isn't it? Made in Germany. Packed in New Zealand. I'm pretty sure they're made in Germany. Pretty sure they are. George Watson, you could tap in both directions. Wow. The rare situation may occur where it's easier to put the shaft through the hole and have a better access. Also helps clear the swarf. Ah, you see, another function. I've never used a tap like that, but I suppose you could do, yes. Arthur, greetings from Poland. Good morning, Arthur. Hope you're all good. Mike Bazanski again. Do you get bored when doing those large runs of fabrications? I imagine the prototyping is more interesting. Bored? It is incredibly monotonous work. However, a run of 100 is not that big a run. It's big enough, in all honesty. I wouldn't want it to be any bigger than that. But when I was living in Greenhithe a few years ago and I was working at Unitech, there was a guy in Greenhithe that ran a company that provided the safety railings that go around a property, around the roof, for when people are working on the roof. I mean, there's lots of different ways of doing it, but he had his own design that used to bolt to the side of the house, and it had, you know, railings that went up. And there were two, I haven't got them to hand, but there were two brackets, two sort of clamps that he wanted me to make for him. And he said, oh, I need 1,000 of these and 1,000 of these, please. And it's like, 1,000, really? I mean, they were quite simple. One of them was just a piece of, I think it was 50x50 box, and we had to drill a hole in it, and we had to weld on an M8 captive nut. Oh, obviously, it was going to be captive, but weld on the nut. And then he used to buy little wing bolts to go in them. That was one of them. And the other one, oh, and it also had a bit of tube welded on one of the sides as well, which had an 8mm ID, or I think it was like 8.5 or 9mm. It was, as long as an 8mm bolt went through it and wasn't too much play, it was fine. And it took me and Ben a whole week to make those. We didn't paint them. He got them galvanized, I think, after the job, either galvanized or some kind of metal plating coating on there. It didn't affect the threads, so it was only a very thin coating, but it was definitely a process that you had to have done. Some kind of electroplating thing that he had done to them. But yeah, to make 1,000, that was a massive order for us. And then about 6 months later, he came back and did a repeat order. So we were really, really busy making those, the two of us. You know, on evening work and weekend work, we were flat out doing it, and it was long, long nights. But yeah, sat there, you know, where I made a jig. Obviously, you've got to make a jig. So I made a jig that would align the bit of tube on the side of the box section to weld that on. That was the second process. The first, I think maybe the third process. The first process was to drill the hole. So on the pillar drill, I had some steel plate G-clamped down so that it aligned the hole in the center of the box section. Again, tolerance wasn't critical, to be honest, so that was an easy way of doing that. And then obviously, I had to weld the nut on, so I just used a bolt through the middle of the nut to stop any splatter on the threads, and I'd spun it on enough so it would protrude through the hole, and it would align the nut correctly, and then I would just tack it on and then weld round. But yeah, 1,000 of those, 1,000 holes to drill, 1,000 nuts to tack on, and then 1,000 bits of tube to put on. And Ben did all the cutting. He basically cut everything, and I did the drilling you know, and the welding stuff. And we sort of worked, we worked very well together, to be fair. We were busy. And then I remember for cleanup, because a lot of the box section would have burrs on it from the power hacksaw. I got a lot of students in one night from, offered them cash. So they came, cash and pizza it was. So they'd come down and we bought a few files, and they just basically just de-swarfed all the finished product. And they came for 2 nights to do that. So it was a great sort of bonding experience with the students as well, to make them realize as well how hard work can be sometimes. But they were very grateful for the payment and the pizza, I'm sure. Good fun. But we got the job done, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? But yeah, when I'm stood making these, is it boring? Yeah, sometimes it is a bit boring, but you know, Mrs. Mechanic helps out, and we try and make it as interesting as he can. But it's pretty full on, you know. In all honesty, you're very focused when you stood there welding them all up. You just get on with it. End of the day, you know, the hours just. I do glance up at the clock, and maybe another hour, an hour and a half has gone by, and you maybe stop for a coffee and then crack on again. It's just the way it is. It has to be done. Making the prototypes is interesting. Making the jigs is more interesting. I mean, I'm actually copying for the second batch. I'm actually copying an existing bracket, so I'm just going to make a jig to suit that bracket. And I've already come up with the style of jig for the first lot. So a couple of hours and I'll have that jig made up. Now then, Jim, crimp, solder, and heat shrink, adhesive type. Yeah, the adhesive type always. Ryan Ford, a cat with some hearts in its eyes. That's amazing. Thomas, you are amazing. Well, thank you, Thomas. Appreciate that. Jim K, smash the like button. Thanks, Jim. 97 viewers and 44 likes. Andy's still not doing a very good job this morning. Apologies. Oh my word. My second coffee's gone cold. What the hell? So we've managed to munch our way through all the comments, which is pretty cool. Only had 1 cigarette so far, which is not enough. We've covered the wiring on Alan's CB750, the new wiring that we're going to use. We've covered some different style connectors, those DT ones. We've covered my old school connector kit for Alan's bike, and the tap and the drill bit for the DR200 for the next step in doing that frame. So it should be pretty cool. What have we got here? Thomas, you do an amazing job. Well, Thomas, I do my best, to be honest. I always, whatever I set my aims to, I always do my best, and unfortunately sometimes it makes the whole thing take a lot longer to do. But especially when it's to video and you're doing a series like with the CB750, it's something to look back on that people can watch in the future and see how things, you know, how the project, you know, they can follow the project along. I think taking the loom off the bike is something that I won't do on camera. I'll just get the loom taken out, and then we'll do the wire replacement as a video. You know, the actual removal of the loom is pretty simple, although you've got to make really take note of what connectors go where and the positioning of the loom and stuff. So I'll be taking lots of photos for that, because it's a lot easier looking at a picture than it is trying to work it out from the old school diagrams that are in the service manual, because they're not very good on the old manuals, to be honest. Daniel, well, the window and old frame is out. Bloody hell, Daniel, that was quick. Good job, mate. UK Weekend Workshop. Boring jobs are just like most trades. When you pray for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. That's right. We all hope that the work keeps coming in, and at the moment there's a lot of work coming in. I have, well, like the title was for this live stream last week, I have far more work really than I have time, and the problem is everything's getting extended. I mean, I've got another ROV to collect from Piha tomorrow afternoon. That call came in, I think, on Friday, overheated. So worst case scenario, could be a top end read, but well, actually worst case scenario is it could have knocked out the big end. That does happen sometimes when they overheat, if they continue to dry for a long period of time. I don't think that's the case. They don't tend to do very long distances in these machines. So I think it's just the cooling fan has failed and it spat the coolant out. Fingers crossed the head gasket's still good. We've got no, coolant leaks, so to speak. But we'll have to wait and see. When the unit gets in, I can go through it and do a diagnostic and work out what needs to be done. To do a top-end rebuild it's another big job for me, to be honest. Anyway, we'll see how things pan out. But they run 3 vehicles, so again, it's not going to be critical to get it back really quickly to them. But again, it's another vehicle kicking around the workshop and a job that needs to be done. Brian Pin. A new name. Morning, Brian. Found your channel a couple of weeks back with the Tool Girls trailer. Binge watched. And all caught up now. Top job, sir. That's a lot of videos to watch, mate. Good job. Oh my word. John Nuttall. Andy, how is your eye now? My eye is absolutely fine. Every now and again, and I'm talking like every few days, I get a little bit of pain in my eye, which is similar to the pain that I felt when I had the piece of metal in there. But I think it's psychological. I don't think it's actually a real pain. I know they got all the metal out, which was a godsend. It was just one slither, so he said, but it was very deep, and it was in the blue part of my eye, which is where all the muscles are that control the little black bit in the middle. What do you call it? The pupil element. So pleased it's out. Pleased the eye's good. Vision's fine. Hasn't affected my vision, fortunately. It wasn't on the actual lens of the eye, which was an absolute godsend, because that's this eye, pretty good vision. This eye, well, it's all a little bit blurry, to be honest. But between the two of them, they do a good job. And like I said before, when I went in, while he was trying to undo the combination door lock thing that he didn't know the combination to, I memorized the eye test chart on the wall. So when he asked me to read, the lowest line that I could, I just blurted out the bottom line. It was like 5 characters. It was CD, CDV or something. I can't remember what it was. But he was most surprised that I could read it out. And then he says, "Oh, could you start from the top?" Bastard. But anyway, I did quite well, actually. I managed to get a good 2/3 of the way down with real vision rather than using memory. And he was still quite happy with that. Ben was laughing his head off because he knew I'd memorized it. Funny, eh? Things that you do. William, no idea what it means other than, are you hungry? Well, not anymore because I've eaten my pie. Jim K, so much work, so little time. Oh, I think we had a little stall out there on the old Tinternet. Yeah, Jim, it's getting ridiculous, and day job stuff is also extremely busy at the moment. I've got a lot of admin work to catch up on, and I've just planned my next trip to the South Island, which will be my last run before Christmas. And I've got field studies to do down there. I've got dealer visits to do. I've got all sorts of stuff going on that run, and it's nearly 3 weeks. 3 weeks away from home on that. That's by far the longest trip I will have ever done, and I'll be driving down and driving back. And I'm taking a trailer down to Wellington as well, and then bringing it back up when I come back 3 weeks later. So it's just going to, obviously, any projects on in the workshop are just going to halt dead for 3 weeks. So I really need to try and clear the decks and get, obviously, this fabrication job done. I need to get the ROV outside, the 6-seater one, done. Assuming all the parts turn up in time. I've got this one at Piha to collect and get back to them before I go down. I mean, obviously the CB750 will just rumble on as it is in the background. If it takes another 2, 3, 4, 5 months, that's just the way it's going to be. Alan said to me, "Will it be ready for December?" And I said, "Yes, of course. But which December do you mean?" And he just thought about it for a second and then just shook his head and walked off. It's not going to be ready for this December. It really isn't. Sorry, Alan. It just isn't. I've got too much going on. Yeah, and there is another fabrication project looming as well, which is a massive project. I've got to make another run of the suspension braces we looked at a few weeks ago, because, well, we need more. But I've not had the thumbs up for that yet, so we'll have to just see what happens. So there you go. And I really need two of me. I really do. Honestly, I'm just way too busy at the moment. Oh my word, I've just looked on the laptop and we've got a dislike. Come on, own up. Who was it that clicked the thumbs down button? I mean, I don't mind because, maybe it's justified, but it would be nice to know why you clicked the thumbs down button. Give me some feedback. What didn't you like about this live stream? Because somebody clearly didn't like it. Jim K, I could use three of me. Yeah, I don't know where to start, to be honest. We've got so much coming in at the moment. It's just mental. And I don't know how we're going to get it all done in time, in reality. I really don't. Work is taking over. Right, you've got that long before I'm going to sign off. So any more questions before we go? Drew Dastardly, I just noticed the thumbs up button is blue. Is this some USA election thing? What? It's not blue here. It's grey at this end, so I don't know what's going on there. Interesting. Obviously, I'm not involved with the US election and I have no say either way, to be honest. Jim Haynes, did you ever find out why that last problem unit was stalling intermittently? Well, it went back to the stalling. Yes. It was more of just a rough idle. It did stall every now and again, but it wasn't that common. But it went back to the customer and I've not heard anything since. So I wouldn't like to say we fixed it because I didn't do anything. I just drove it and tested it. I didn't, It's blue when you click like. Thanks, Simon. Phew, nothing to do with the election. So once you've clicked it, and I can't click because you can't like your own videos, can you? Once you click it, it obviously stays blue. Igors, haha, it is black here. Definitely Black Lives Matter are at fault. Funny. Okay, Drew Dastardly, never used to be blue. Okay, well, obviously YouTube have done some updates, and the color varies around the world, so very strange. Well, we've got 105 viewers, and we've got 51 likes. That's nearly 50%, isn't it? That's pretty good. So, any more messages? There might be some more messages. Hang on. I'm really bad at my... Oh, no. No messages. All good. Right. Still no Gmail, though. I haven't sorted that out yet. Mike just ordered my coffee mug. What a bloke. Yes, good segue. Thanks, Mike. So, don't forget, and I was speaking to Jared earlier in the week. We had a meeting on Tuesday night with his business partner, Darren. I think it's Darren. I'm terrible with names. I really am. We need to we're busy now putting together the prize pack. He's having a little think what he can put in the pack. Obviously, Brandon at Tang Tools is going to be putting some stuff together from Tang, and I'll throw in that Tang 1/4-inch drive socket set that I bought a while ago. Plus, I'll also be throwing in some Andy Mechanic merch as well. Probably some of the Tool Girl mugs that I've got in the cupboard, and a few other bits and pieces. Obviously, we've got to be wary about dangerous goods for the shipment. Like I said, Jared is wrecking his brains as to what would be useful and reasonably easy to ship. Isn't going to cause problems. Dangerous goods shipment is just not going to happen because the paperwork is just ridiculous, as is the cost at the moment as well. But there will also be a bespoke Andy Mechanic jacket. So if you want to enter that draw, and there's not a huge number of people in it, so there's still a good chance of winning it, then go to Zazzle, and there's a link in the description. Go to the Zazzle store, and you can purchase any of the Andy Mechanic merch there. It could even just be a keyring for $5 or $6, I think it is. And send through a selfie or a picture in the workshop of your chosen merch. Send it to my email address, andymechanic@live.co.uk, and you'll go into the draw. Any of those pictures that I get come through, and I've got 2 or 3 still to post. They get posted on Instagram. And the ones that go onto Instagram are obviously the ones that are going to be in the draw, because that's the ones I'll be doing the draw from. It's just an easy way of me categorizing it all and knowing who's in the competition, basically. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. And don't forget, send through your selfie shot and I'll put you in that draw. Arthur, Andy from USA, truly enjoy your videos. Thank you, Arthur. I really appreciate that. That's good to know. And my apologies in advance. There probably won't be as many videos over the next few weeks. My trip is planned. I leave at the end of November and I get back on the 17th of December. So it's almost 3 weeks away. So during that time, there probably won't be too many videos going out. I'll try and do a few live streams from around the South Island just to keep in contact with you all. But as regards true edited videos, I don't know. It depends how many I can get edited up before then. I've got 2 or 3 in the can that I need to edit, so maybe I'll have a few for you. Oh, and the cigarette's gone out. See, you've got a few extra minutes now. So, any more questions before Andy signs off? We've got 101 people watching. I'm sure there's a few more questions that we can answer in the next 2 or 3 minutes before I actually down tools or down camera and get back to work. We're approaching almost 1 hour 56. I won't say we're going to go for a record, but nearly 2-hour live stream is pretty good going, isn't it? So, have I missed any questions? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Are you finding that your work is also really busy now that we're in this whole COVID thing and the world sort of settled down a little bit and sort of, I won't say got used to the new norm, but I mean, obviously we know that Jim is overworked, as is the other chap with Sergeant Joe Smith. He's very busy as well. I'm ridiculously busy. Are you really busy in your line of work? And if you are, what line of work are you in? Be interesting to find out. Oh dear. Well, I think we're about there. Nobody's come through with the comments because it's usually pretty quick. Mike, just out of interest, what mug did you order? Give me some feedback on that. My favourite is the traditional Andy Mechanic mug with the schematics on it. I like that. I really like that mug. And yes. Oh, here we are. Brian Pin. I'm a wedding photographer. Only done one since March. Holy shit! It's obviously gonna really affect your line of work. Is there any other kind of photography you could have sidestepped into? Maybe journalism or something like that. Maybe help a local newspaper or something, just to try and get a few more invoices out. It's a difficult one, isn't it? You've got to try and adapt to the times a little bit and you've got to keep bringing the money in. That's what it's all about, unfortunately. Man, if I had to stop, if I was working for myself full time and I didn't put any invoices out for that's sort of 6 months, is it? March, April, May, June, July, August, September. No, 8 months, no invoicing. I'd be in serious financial trouble. I really would. Things would be there probably wouldn't be a workshop anymore, that's for sure. Connor K, I have the mug with a 3-wheeler schematic and a keyring. You do, Connor. I remember seeing the order come through. Thank you very much. And don't forget to send me through your selfie. Igors, I'm in the chemical industry. We make big tanks for chemical processes. Our orders have dropped. Shit. Any layoffs because of the drop in orders, or have they managed to keep things going and just drop to a shorter working week, for example? Daz, 323323, are the mugs available in New Zealand or fulfilled overseas? You've got to get them through Zazzle. They produce all the Andy Mechanic merch. The only stuff that I have here are those Tool Girl Holly toolbox stickers that I've not been charging for. I've just been sending them out because that's the nice kind of guy that I am. John, what's the next video going out and what's it on? Well, the next video that I still need to edit up, which will be the next one in theory, will be Tool Girl Holly and I working on a DR200. And I think it's something to do with the foot pegs and the side stand from memory. I think so. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. I also need to do a video on doing the suspension bushes replacement as well. It's not going to happen for a while. It's not going to happen today, that's for sure. I'm looking forward to doing it, but I haven't got time to do it today, unfortunately. So, John, that's pretty much it. It's pretty thin on the ground at the moment. I think there's 2 more videos still to edit up from when Holly came to the workshop last for that weekend for me to edit and get out on the channel. And she's coming back into the workshop the last weekend of November, just before I go on my South Island trip. So again, I don't know how on earth I'm going to edit those up. I really don't want to take my PC with me on the trip because it's got so many hard drives and stuff. We need to unplug them all and plug them all back in again. They all get different reference letters, and then the editing software doesn't. You've got to match everything back up, and it's just too hard. I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk the hard drives corrupting as well, being transported. So it's a bit of a problem, to be honest. I'm still looking to buy a laptop which I can edit videos on while I'm on the road, but that's something that I haven't yet organised. The classic, no girls, as it might not go over well in the office. Brian, trying to get out anywhere in the UK, anywhere I can. UK lockdowns aren't helping with all the social distancing rules. Yeah, you've got, November's going to be a really tough month in the UK, I think. Kill switch, motor factors, delivery driver, busy. Yeah, the motor industry in New Zealand is really busy. They're still selling lots of cars, and workshops are flat out in the main, really busy. Always plenty of work going on. Thanks for that, Kill switch. Igors, there was 1 month where we had to stay at home, but the employer paid us anyway. That's good to know. It's unfortunately not sustainable, though, is it? You know, businesses can't keep paying workers if they're not actually being productive and contributing towards the business and creating an income. It's a recipe for disaster, isn't it, long term? John Nuttall, do you have many CCM bikes over there? No, we don't. Mike Bozansky, work been steady. I work for the government supporting the Navy, been working from home for the last 9 months. I like working from home, don't get me wrong, I do, but I also enjoy going into the office, and I can do both. You know, I work autonomously pretty much. I'll be going back up to Auckland again tomorrow morning, and it's good to catch up with the team. You know, it's a lot more conversation goes on around work face to face than it ever does via emails. Emails tend to be on a needs must basis, whereas when you're in the office, you can have an informal catch up, a bit of a chat, a bit of a laugh, and it makes all the difference. It really does. You know, it's amazing the things that you end up talking about, and things that you remember that maybe you've forgotten about in the past, and there's no email thread based on it. So for me, it's important to have a balance of both, even though officially I work from home now. But yeah, working from home for 9 months, I think that'd probably do my head in, to be honest. I mean, the lockdown, I was here for, I think, 7 or 8 weeks, and I was really glad to get out. As much as I love being in the workshop, I worked my ass off getting stuff done. I did all the steel work and then the racking for the framework for the racking and bits and pieces. But you know, there's a limit to how long you can stay in one place for a period of time. So 9 months, mate, you're doing well there, Mike. You really are. Igors, our market is in Northern Europe. Their COVID situation is worse than ours. It is. Europe's really, really bad. Connor, I received my mug and keyring in Portugal in less than 2 weeks with regular shipping. Pretty fast. That's really fast. That is good, Connor. It takes probably about 5 weeks for them to get to New Zealand. Although sometimes it's a bit quicker, sometimes it takes a bit longer, but on average about 5 weeks. Simon, well, with the UK lockdown, we have put the Christmas light up outside. Spread a bit of joy. Good man. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We just got to make the best of it, be British, as some of us are, and knuckle down and just try and get through it. But good luck to all of you. This is far, far from over at the moment, and it's all about adapting to the current situation, isn't it? So sort of make the best of the situation and try and keep some kind of an income stream coming in. And I'm very, very grateful to have this YouTube channel. It certainly helps, does the income that this channel generates. Although saying that, I do spend a lot of it back on the channel, to be fair. Don't tell Mrs. Mechanic. Okay, crew, I think we're about there. We're 2 hours and 5 minutes in. We've still got 89 viewers. So for all of you that are still here, that have made it through the entire 2-hour live stream, thank you very much again. It is very, very much appreciated. Like I said before, don't forget to drop onto the old Zazzle store. I'm sure there'll be some merch on there that you quite fancy to have in your workshop, and support the channel. Those that have already supported the channel, again, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. And without your support and your viewings and your comments, there wouldn't be an Andy Mechanic YouTube channel, that's for sure. All right, crew. Well, until next Sunday, I'll see you around. Cheers. Over and out.